It's been 3 months since I sat down with Donald Trump, and he's obviously outlasted the constant gloom and doom predictions by the pundits and dominated the coverage of this race. I spoke to the Republican frontrunner at Trump Tower. Donald Trump, welcome.
Thank you.
You say again and again that most political journalists, not all, most political journalists are dishonest in the way they cover you. Why? Why do you think that is?
Well, there's great dishonesty in the media, and I didn't see it to the same extent with the financial media. You know, I've only been a politician now for 3 months, but they don't want to cover me accurately. I see such dishonesty. They have a couple of sites like Politico. It's totally dishonest. I mean, it's unbelievably
In
dishonest.
fact, you tweeted about Politico the other day. I wonder why somebody doesn't do something about the clowns at Politico and their totally dishonest reporting. Another tweet, you call Politico pure scum. Why
They
such
are
harsh
a
language?
very dishonest site, and I would say they're probably, because they write things that are not true, they never even call us. I mean, they very rarely even call. They will say things that are unbelievably wrong, purposely. They'll estimate the size of a crowd as being a tiny fraction, because everything I do, I sell out. I mean, you know the crowds. You know them as well as I do. We had 20,000 people the other day in Oklahoma. We had 20,000 in Dallas. We had 35,000 people in Alabama.
Do you think that's deliberate?
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. It's not even a question. Now, somebody said they're a liberal site. I don't know if they are or not. I know nothing about them. By the way, I know nothing about them. The good news, I hear they're losing a lot of money. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But I just want to tell you, Politico is very dishonest. The Washington Post is very interesting because they've started to really capture my campaign. It's been very interesting. The Washington Post has been Bob Costa is really very professional. I find the New York Times is very mixed. I have some that are fabulous. Maggie is great, and a couple of them are great. And then you'll get outliers that are just like, where did those stories come from?
Let me ask you about this New York Times story. It generated a lot of buzz. Donald Trump's bombast seems to be wearing out its welcome. Says the media are tiring of your outlandish behavior.
Yeah, and the funny thing, the reporter wanted an interview, and we were going to set it up at some time. It's hard to do all these interviews. I could do interviews all day. And they've actually apologized for it. The reporter wants to do another story because it was a wrong story. We're getting much higher. Look, the reason you're interviewing me is because you're going to get higher ratings. I don't know why, but you're going to get higher ratings, much higher ratings, maybe double and triple, by interviewing me as opposed to somebody else. That's true. Well, it may be, but even maybe without that. O'Reilly, the same thing. Greta, the same thing. Hannity, the same thing. I mean, they get much bigger ratings. And they were saying...
Let me jump in. You've had your go-arounds with Fox News. You've also ripped on CNN occasionally. A lot of times it seems to have to do with polls. And so these and other organizations prefer polls that are based on random telephone surveys, which show you ahead.
Way ahead.
Other online polls, which we regard as less scientific, show you maybe even more ahead. So isn't that a legitimate disagreement as opposed to being unfair to you?
Well, I'll give you an example. So NBC does a poll and CNN does a poll. I'm leading in both, but the NBC poll is better. I'm on NBC, the Today Show, and they show the CNN poll. I say, wait a minute, you people paid for a poll that's an NBC poll.
But I believe that was an online survey.
No, I don't know if it was or not. I know NBC did. I'm being interviewed by NBC. The poll just came out. I was leading. I was at 29 or 30, and I'm leading by a lot. And by the way, on CNN I was leading by a lot, but it wasn't quite as good. And NBC used the CNN poll, and I said to him during the interview, not a lot of people are going to do this, I said, just out of curiosity, why aren't you using the NBC? This is NBC. Why aren't you using your own poll? No, I think the reporting, and at the same time, you have been great. There have been people, O'Reilly is tough as hell every time I do it, but he's great. He's fair. I don't mind, somebody said thin skin or not thin skin. I don't mind it all being criticized if I deserve it, but you have a couple of people on Fox that are brutal and for no reason. I mean, really for no reason.
So I found conservative commentators may disagree with you ideologically, but let me ask you.
Well, no, that's different. I'm not even talking about.
Let me ask you. I was surprised when CNN's Don Lemon during an interview asked you, "Are you a homophobe?" And he also said some people may perceive you as racist. Are those fair questions?
I was not bothered by it. I said, absolutely, I'm not a racist. I said, you're more racist than I am, okay, looking at him. And actually, he was very fair. I found him to be very fair. I find him to be very fair. I find many of the people to be incredibly talented and generally fair. The people I don't find to be fair are the pundits. Anchors tend to like me. I don't know, maybe because they want me to go back on the show. The ones that are brutal are these pundits. They come from nowhere. And they have, but although I must say, many of them are coming around. When I started, first nobody thought I was going to do it. Then after I did it, they said, "Oh, he'll never file." Then I filed, and then it went on like this.
We're still getting that. But now, last time I was here, you were kind of beaten up on a man you called Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd. Since then, he turned a little bit more positive toward your candidacy. You've done Meet the Press several times. So, does your opinion of journalists rise if they like you?
No, if they're fair. He's been very fair to me. I didn't think he was fair to me initially. Now, I was a novice. I'd never run for office before. It was 3 months. I've only been doing this for 3 months, okay? But for almost 3 months, I'm at the top, which is pretty cool when you think of it. You know, when they compare me with a man I like, Herman Cain, when they compare me with Michelle Bachmann, who I also like, they were there for 1 week.
Yeah.
I've been there from the beginning.
Very, very
It's been a long time. It's been a long run. No, but Chuck Todd has been fair.
Let's drill down on government spending. This is a long question, so bear with me. The Conservative Tax Foundation says your tax cut plan would cost $10 trillion. I know you dispute that estimate. You said you don't want to touch Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Together, they're $1.7 trillion. That's half the federal budget. Now, I know you want to go after waste, fraud, and abuse, but if you slash taxes and you put half the budget as sacrosanct, likely blow a hole in the deficit.
No, but we're going to build the country. We're going to take our jobs back from China. We're going to take our jobs back from Japan. I'm the only one that can do this. Other people have no clue.
But there is math involved.
No, there is.
You also want to build up the military.
You know how many jobs we have lost to other countries where they have ripped us like we're a bunch of babies? We're going to bring our jobs back. We're going to bring manufacturing back. We're going to bring, look, with, as an example, Social Security, Medicare. You sign up for Social Security, that's a lifetime, that's your contract. You've signed that contract. It's there. Now, if you can't do anything about it, but in my case I can, because I'm going to grow the economy to a level that nobody thought possible, and I'm going to bring all our jobs back. And that's going to be the thing that grows the economy.
To some extent, you're saying, trust me that I can do these things.
I don't think so.
When you look at the hard numbers, as economists do, it is hard to have it all. Cut taxes, increase spending, protect spending for the big entitlement programs.
Well, I think one of the reasons I'm doing well is I built a tremendous company. I started off actually with a father who was great, but he was in Brooklyn, Queens. You grew up in Brooklyn or Queens, I think, right? So you understand, it's a different kind of a world. A lot of people like to say, oh, my father was this massive real estate guy. It was this beautiful little small company.
I know the projects he built, but are you saying that your success in real estate automatically translates into being able to tame the federal government?
I took a tiny little, beautiful little company started by my father, and I gained tremendous knowledge from my father because he was a great negotiator. And I built it into a massive company that's worldwide, and we sit here now on 5th Avenue in the best location in the world, 57th and 5th, and I've done a good job. Now, without doing that good job, and it's part of it, without doing such a great job, and you saw my financial statements, they're 10 times better than anybody ever thought, but without doing that job, you wouldn't have the same credibility to say what I'm saying. I'm saying this, I'm going to take jobs back from China and all of these countries that have ripped this country off.
On this question of wealth, you've been counterpunching, as you would put it, against Marco Rubio. You say he criticized you first. One of the things that you've said about the senator is that he hasn't got much money. So is being a middle-class guy trying to raise his kids, as opposed to having your name on a building like this, a disqualification for the presidency?
No, it's not. But he's had tremendous, credit card problems. You know that. Marco has had tremendous problems with his credit card. He is very weak on immigration, illegal immigration. I mean, as far as he's concerned, the Gang of Eight was a disaster.
But
he was friends with Chuck Schumer and everybody.
Rich,
no, I'm not saying it.
In your league.
I'm not saying it. What I'm saying is he has not handled his financial affairs very well. You look at his credit cards, you look at his problems, and I said he was a lightweight, but you have to remember this. He started with me. He was very nice. Then about 2 weeks ago, he started hitting me. I said, what was this all about? I didn't start with him. Here's the good thing. Everybody that's hit me so far has gone way down in the polls. It's a weird thing. I hope that translates into running a country.
On that point, you haven't spoken much lately about Jeb Bush. Is he no longer a threat to you in this race?
No, I think he's a nice person. I went after him at the beginning because he went after me, but I went after him at the beginning. He's out there pitching. I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen. Don't forget, when I started, I was never going to run according to the pundits, and Jeb Bush had it made, Rand Paul had it made, and if you think about it, your governor of Wisconsin, Walker, who's a very nice guy also.
He's gone.
And he's gone. Okay? So they were the ones that were going to win, one of those three. And it's not looking like that.
A few weeks ago, you got into it with Ben Carson. He made what you called a nasty comment questioning your faith. He later apologized for that. Lately, it seems like you have almost a mutual non-aggression pact with Ben Carson.
No, it's not non-aggression. I like him. He's a nice man.
Right.
Now, that being said,
running number 2.
I don't know that he's going to be the guy to negotiate with China, which I do all the time. By the way, the largest bank in the world from China is in this building right above us. They pay me a lot of rent. But I've made great deals with China. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco, 1290 Avenue of the Americas. I got it all from China. I outdid them. So, yeah, it's, negotiating is a great art and a great talent, and it's something.
So are you questioning Carson's ability to be president?
I don't question anything. I tell you, I respect him and I like him a lot. And He made a statement about me, and he withdrew it immediately. He said he misspoke. He actually said the press convinced him to make that statement or talked him into it, and we know the press, right?
He said it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the statement originally made to you?
No. When I interviewed him, he said it was a mistake to take the reporter's question as bait, nice. And that he apologized.
Honestly, that shows a great twig. He was able to withdraw it. Oh, I was all set to go wild. Now I can't go wild. I'm actually saying I wish he'd hit me. Please hit me.
You sound frustrated.
No, he's very smart. He's got to hit me.